talking about. He gets a pass. He's fantastic. All right, let's look at this, guys. Stick with me. I want you to see this. I'm about to show you the messiest chart ever, and then we're going to simplify it down, okay? Look at this. Look at this chart. So on this chart, we have Bitcoin up top. The green is inflation, net liquidity, because you're going to hear people say all this. When rate cuts finally come and Bitcoin does not go up, people are going to start saying, oh, well, it's because of net liquidity, or it's because of the Fed balance sheet, or inflation. It's none of that stuff, guys, okay? You cannot find rhyme or reason out of this chart, period. I simplified it to another chart here. Let me show this real quick. Another, this Bitcoin here, so when Bitcoin is going up, you cannot find any consistency, no trend to the rest. Sometimes Bitcoin goes up when inflation goes down. Sometimes Bitcoin goes up. Look at there, number 3, when inflation goes up. Inflation goes down on number 4. Bitcoin goes down. There's no rhyme or reason. Even the most recent, too, there's no rhyme or reason. Same thing with net liquidity. The first 2, Bitcoin up, liquidity up, okay? Then you got Bitcoin up, liquidity down. Then you down, up, down, up, sideways. There's nothing. There's nothing. None of this. None of this is consistent. There's only one consistency out of all this, and I'm going to show you. Let's look at these real quick. I'm going to go real quick through this, and I'm going to show you what actually matters. Let me show you. Let me take some of this off real quick. All right. So here you have interest rate and Bitcoin, okay? I need you to follow me, guys. You're going to get wrecked. You're going to get wrecked. If you want a bull run, you need to pay attention, okay? You're going to get misled. You're going to get wrecked. And again, interest rates getting cut. You may get a bullishness for a day or two, you know, but... Okay, look here. Interest rates going sideways, Bitcoin going up. Interest rate, look at this. Interest rates going up. I'm back in 2017, 2018. Look, interest rates going up. Bearish, right? Right? That's what they're going to tell you. Bearish. Not massive bull run. Interest rates going up. Not bearish. I'm not saying it's great, but it had no effect whatsoever, right? You follow me? How about this? Interest rates going down. What happened? Bitcoin going down. Okay? Interest rates flatten out. Bitcoin goes up. Interest rates go up. Bitcoin goes down. Well, that makes sense. That's bearish, right? Interest rates go up. Bitcoin goes down. Okay, well, it wasn't bearish here, though. So that means it's not consistently bearish or bullish. It's done both. Interest rates go up. Bitcoin goes down. Interest rates go up. Bitcoin goes up. Okay? Here you go. Interest rates have been going down. Sideways down, sideways down. But interest rates have been trajecting down for, I don't know, what is this? Since about a year, right? You see that? About a year. Headed down. What's that? Bitcoin's going down. It's not bullish, guys. Interest rates going down is not bullish. Okay? Perfect example right here. Look, right here. Interest rates going down right here. Let's trace it up. I'll just do a vertical line on it so you can see. Interest rates went down right there. Boom. What happened? Bitcoin went down. It's not bullish. It is not bullish. Don't listen to those people. They won't pull this chart up and show you. I'm going to show you what it is, though. But hang on. Give me 1 second. So then when that doesn't work out for them, they're going to say, oh, it's inflation. It's inflation. Okay, let's look at inflation. All right. Same thing, no consistency here, guys, no consistency. And you have to understand this. If you care about macro portfolio and not just 5-minute leverage trading, you have to understand this. No consistency. Look, green arrow, inflation headed down, Bitcoin headed up. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Cool, inflation's headed down, Bitcoin's headed up. Oh, whoa, hang on. Bitcoin's headed down here. What's inflation doing? Headed down. Well, that doesn't make sense. So that correlation's broken. Oh, look. Inflation headed up. Bitcoin's got to be headed down, right? Look, inflation's headed up. Nope. Bitcoin's moving up in a massive bull market. Well, that doesn't make sense. Shouldn't that be bearish for Bitcoin? Inflation's headed up. This doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Look at here. Bitcoin headed up. This is our most recent market. Bitcoin headed up. Inflation headed down. That makes sense, right? That makes sense, right? Well, what about right here, this bull market, right here? Inflation headed up the entire time, but we had a massive bull run. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So when that doesn't work out for folks, they're gonna tell you something else. They're gonna say, well, it's the Fed balance sheet. It's the Fed balance sheet. That's what matters. When the Fed is adding to their balance sheet, Bitcoin goes up, period. Period. So if the Fed is taken off of their balance sheet, then Bitcoin can't go up. Ask them to show it to you on the chart. Okay, so when the Fed is removing from their balance sheet, Bitcoin's got to go down, right? That's the whole argument. When Fed's adding the balance sheet, price goes up. Well, hang on. Fed's removing from the balance sheet this entire last bull run. Balance sheet going down, Bitcoin going up. How does that make sense? Oh, well, maybe I had it backwards then. Maybe I had it back. Maybe when the Fed adds their balance sheet, then it go, well, hang on. Fed added their balance sheet here and Bitcoin went up. So Bitcoin goes up whether the Fed adds to the balance sheet or takes away from the balance sheet. No consistency, guys. None. This doesn't work. Nobody's going to show you this stuff. They're just going to put it out there and spoon feed you and people swallow it when all you got to do is pull it up on the chart. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. Okay? Let me show you what actually matters. You're going to have those people who really deep dive and tell you net liquidity matters. Net liquidity is what matters. Why am I not seeing this? My net liquidity is not wanting to pull up. I'm getting the arrows, but not the chart. That's okay. There it is. It's got to be the net liquidity, right? It's got to be the net liquidity. Well, when liquidity rises, then that means more money to go into the market. So liquidity goes up, net liquidity goes up. That's more money can flow into Bitcoin, right? Well, I don't know. It's been going up here for the last 6-7 months, and Bitcoin's been going down. There was nothing added in net liquidity here. Literally sideways, Bitcoin went up. Here, net liquidity went down. Bitcoin went down. Here, net liquidity was going down while Bitcoin was rampaging into a... There's no consistency. All right. So we've dismissed all the nonsense that you're about to start hearing as we head into midterms and they start talking about inflation and interest rates. It's all nonsense. Let me show you what matters, okay? Let me show you what matters. And I'm just proving it to you. These are not my words. Let me show you what matters. The only time, period, that Bitcoin has gone up, period, is when interest rate is flat. Period. And that's not to say it can't go down when it's flat. You know, there's ebbs and flows in the market, liquidity grabs, people take a profit. But the only time, period, you've had any significant run in the market is when interest rate is flat. It doesn't matter if it's flat low, flat in the middle, or flat high. It doesn't matter. Those are the only times you have Bitcoin running. Period. This is on the monthly chart, guys. All of these have been on the monthly chart. Hang on, let me... boom. All right, let's look here. So we're all the way back in like 2011, 2012, 2013. Interest rates are flat. Bitcoin's running. Then you have the pullback. You can have that little, but you can have the pullback here, right? That's just some profit taking and stuff. But notice interest rates stayed flat, so it didn't pull back long, and then boom, rampaged off into another bull run, okay? Pay attention. I'm going to tell you why in a second, too. Okay, and then what happened? Interest rates started going up, right? Bitcoin started coming down. Why did they go up again? When did they go up again, more importantly? When interest rates flattened out. It doesn't matter that they were elevated, right? It didn't matter that they were higher than they were here. They were higher here. But they flattened out, and Bitcoin ran again. Now what happened? What happened after that, guys? Here's where it gets interesting, okay? Bitcoin started coming down. It ran for a little while when they flattened out. But what happened? Interest rates started getting cut. Well, hang on, Anthony. I thought all the influencers tell me that interest rates getting cut is bullish. Lowering rates is bullish. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not bullish, okay? It may be bullish that day, but it's not bullish. And I'm proving it to you, okay? If anybody can prove me otherwise, by all means. Okay, well, it went down, rates went down, price went down. Oh, boom, then it went back up. Cool. That's proof right there. No. What happened, guys? What happened? Interest rates flattened back out. They went flat. Then up nor down, Bitcoin ran. Okay? All right, and you come over here and look, interest rates started going up. Here's what they're going to say. Look, rate increases, Bitcoin came down. Well, we've just shown that doesn't matter, right? Interest rates went up right here, massively went up, and Bitcoin massively went up. That doesn't matter. Yep, prices coming down, interest rates are going up, but it doesn't matter. We just showed that interest rates coming down is also bearish. Okay? So it came down, and then it started going back up again. Why? What happened? Why did it start going back up again, guys? What happened? Interest rates flattened out. So Bitcoin ran, right? You had a little pullback right here. It's not a huge pullback, but you pulled back from, what was that, 110K to 72K. It's a pretty damn big pullback, actually. What happened? What happened right here in this little baby pullback? It looks baby, but if we extended it, it's $30,000 pullback. What happened? Interest rates went down, but I thought that was bullish. Let me do the stupid. I thought that was bullish rate cuts. No, guys, it's not bullish. It is not bullish. Well, then Bitcoin got one more little pump up right there. Boom, that final little pump up to 126K. What happened, guys? Rates flattened back out. You have to understand this because all the retards out there are going to try to tell you rate cuts are bullish. Prove it to me. You can't do it. I just showed how you can't do it. I understand you may get a 4 or 5% pump on Bitcoin that day, but that's because people are stupid. Right? I just proved it to you. So this is what we want. We want to see what's happening right now. Rates have been flat for a couple months now. Okay? This is what we want to see, guys. I've proven it to you. I've proven it. Proven it. Proven it. Proven it. Proven it. Proven it. This is what we want, rates to stay flat, okay? And sometimes it takes 4 or 5 months of being flat before you do anything, guys. So, like, look here. Let me see. So you flatten out here, right? You flatten out here. I mean, it took you from the time you went flat there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and then you lift off. So a little 5 months of sideways and then lift off, okay? Let's look at the next one. You flatten out there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. By month 6, boom, you lift off. Right there, by month 6, you lift off, okay? I know you kind of ease. This is more sideways and up, and then boom. It took you 6 months of being flat before you. It's not just okay, let's flatten this month, and next month we're going to take off. It took 6 months, okay? Here, it took, you flatten out there, 1, 2, 3, third month you started taking off, okay? So it's taken 3 months, 5 months, and 6 months. And how far are we in it now? Flatten out there, 1, 2, I can't see, hang on, sorry. Let me do this again. My cursor was in the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. We're 5 months into flat, guys. This is what we want. We don't want to hike, nor do we want to cut. We want to stay flat. You should want to stay flat, guys. Because you can't show a time where Bitcoin was definitively running unless it was flat. So don't listen to the people who are telling you rate cuts are bullish. It's not true. It's not true. We want rates to stay flat. Do you know why that is, though? I'll tell you more than anything. Bitcoin's a risk-on asset, okay? It means it's more volatile. It's more risky, more risky. People hate more than anything in markets, and you know this, we've discussed this, people hate uncertainty. They hate it. They like knowing or like thinking they know. They like stability, okay? When rates are moving up or moving down, there's usually outside influences causing the adjustment, right? War, inflation, tariff, whatever it is, causing this rate cut or rate hike. But either way, if you're dropping rates or you're raising rates, it's not stable. And for people to invest in, especially in risk-on assets, they want stability. They want the waters to be calm. We've shown they don't care if the waters are calm down low, or the waters are calm in the middle, or the waters are calm up at this crazy high interest rate. They don't really care. They just want it to be calm, right? And that makes sense. If I'm gonna like let my guard down a little and invest in some risk-on stuff, I don't want swings one way or the other. I just want predictability. So, all of you praying for rate cuts, stop. And pray that they leave it the same for a year. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I hope some of you found some value in this segment, guys. I spent a lot of time putting this together. But I want you guys to know the truth. And I also want you guys, when you're watching other people, because I know you do, and they come on and they start saying this stuff, don't just absorb it and eat it up. Go look. Go look. And if what they're saying is not true, then they're just making stuff up. More likely, they're regurgitating something they heard somewhere else. And I just don't do that. If somebody says something, I go look it up. I go look. It didn't take but about 2 seconds of pulling both of these charts up to realize that they're full of shit. That they didn't look up at all. They heard it from somewhere, or it just kind of makes sense. You know, if I thought about it, interest rates going down, that sounds bullish to me. Interest rates going up, that sounds bearish to me. It just makes sense. But it's not true. Questions on that, guys? Questions? Let's check in on chat. Eons would not have expected that. Yeah, if you just told me, it took me a long time. I've heard this for years, and I didn't look this up until about a year ago. I mean, you just never, it sounds like such common sense that rates going down would be bullish that you wouldn't even think to look it up. But it's not bullish. And then you sit there on FOMC day and rates do get cut. Price rips to the upside that day. So you think, yeah, that's right, it's bullish. But it's not. That's just people getting liquidated. Bottom is in for VeChain. VeChain is one of the worst cryptos I've ever seen in my life. It is. VeChain is very likely going to zero after this cycle. I know it's on the mat at UFC. I'm sorry, bro. You're going to hate me. Thumbs down the stream. Thumbs down the stream. That's okay. VeChain is terrible. All the UFC guys. Gosh, I know. Dana White. VeChain looks awful. West Coast, yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, think about it. Stability. Stability. Volatility. People hate uncertainty in the market. That's why when the bombs dropped in Iran, everything tanked, right? Everything. I mean, everything. Stock market, everything dumped for about a week, 2 weeks. And then when things didn't get any better or worse, you know, they didn't escalate or de-escalate. They just kind of stayed flat. It's like, okay, dropping a few more bombs today. Everything started kind of going back up. Because the water's, I mean, yes, there's war, so it's not calm water, but it wasn't a shock. It wasn't that initial like, oh, what's going on? Because when anything changes, people run and panic and pull everything from the market. The way of the world, as of now, is still, in times of uncertainty, turn to cash. Now, I believe that those days are numbered, but as of now, that's the way it is. Yeah, Hotborn, once again, proving how important it is to actually look at the charts. Yeah, just look at the charts. That's all you got to do. And then you won't get misled. So this, we want to see this going forward to stay as high as possible for remaining the current rate. And that's not looking good. Matter of fact, by September, there's a 55% chance, as of now, of a rate hike. So this is not looking good. But I don't believe that. I don't believe these charts, and we've discussed why. With Kevin Warsh in office, I do not think they hike rates. And more than anything, besides the stability thing, I think the stability thing is number one, most important. But why rate cuts would not be bullish is because the Fed is already always late to the party. By the time they come in and cut rates, the damage is done. So cutting rates is usually trying to fix a problem. They never cut rates for the right reason.